from last time, you'll know that we spent a good day having a really good tidy up, getting the beans down, getting the sweet corn, basically getting all the vertical stuff flattened, which is always a bit of a strange thing, isn't it? But what that means is I've come up today and all the stuff that we ran away from because we had a sudden invitation to the pub is still here. So today I'm going to do a little bit more tidying and tell you what I'm going to do with these big bean poles here, because you might have the same situation as I've had before. But first of all, I better go and let the little fellas out and give them their corn. Come on, ladies. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Whoopsie. There we go. Only got 2 chickens now, bless them. But we have managed to get, I don't know how this has happened. Oh yes I do, we didn't collect yesterday. We've got 3 gorgeous eggs. It really is feeling autumnal today, whereas we had that beautiful sunshine the other day. It's much more misty today, which really, really does feel more like the end of the season. One of the questions that I was asked by actually one of my lovely patrons, Anne, so this one's for you, Anne, is how do you save the seeds of your snapdragons? If I show you, can you see that little bit there? Can you see it? I was sent some seeds by Robin over in Chicagoland, Robin Miller, and these beautiful snapdragons. I mean, these are the ones that are up here. I've had some gorgeous peachy ones and some gorgeous yellow ones as well. I've never actually saved the seed myself, but I want to. I mentioned that I want to this year, and Anne asked how I did it. So all I'm going to say, Anne, is like with any seed, you wait till it's really, really, can you see that? That's actually got little holes in it now. Wait till it's absolutely dry. Now what you'll find with things like snapdragons that go up a stem like that, the ones at the top, as you can see there, that's still flowering. So the ones coming further down are fresher. So if you go right to the bottom of the stem, as low down as you go, you'll get the older ones. And hopefully, what I'm hoping for is when I open this, I'm going to get some seeds. Okay, are we ready? Yeah, look at those. My goodness me. So in that one seed head, that's only, crikey, I've only opened a bit of it there. All those seeds are free. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Another thing that was mentioned by quite a few people was chop and drop. So whereas on the last video I was pulling up the sunflowers out of the ground and the sweet corn out of the ground and the beans, etc. A lot of people, and we've done it before as well, it's a really good practice to use sometimes, is to just chop the plants at the ground. The roots will compost away into the soil, and you can just leave the leaves on top and the stems on top of the soil, and over the winter things will gradually rot down. Well, what we tend to do, we have done that, but if you can see, you probably won't be able to see that end bay there, that's quite rotted down. But things like even my cosmos, now if you look here, I've not even broken that down at all. I could do, and to be honest I probably will. By the time it gets to putting something else on top, I want to make more room, so I will make it a bit smaller. But things like that have just been thrown straight in. I know, I think it was Stephen asked, forgive me if I've got your name wrong, Stephen, about sweet corn. He said, would you put the whole stalk on the compost, or would it take a long time to rot down? And I said no, things like sweet corn, and I mean, we've got these, I'm talking about things rotten down. The reason these have been thrown in a bay is, again, part of the reason that I gave earlier, which is we were invited to the pub at late notice. They never quite made it to the top, but these will definitely get broken down, because you can see these are the sunflowers, but very similar, oh heavens, very similar to the sweet corn. They are very, very fibrous, and we can't just put them in a bed and expect them to rot down. They will rot, but they'll take a lot longer than the finer things such as the cosmos. So we don't just compost everything. We have still got the soil on the end. The soil will add to the soil in the beds, and anything that's in the soil, so the goody bugs and the worms and everything, will also go into the beds themselves. So I hope that's answered that question. One thing that I am always banging on about, well, there's lots of things I'm always banging on about, but rarely do I take any notice of myself, is look after your labels. Not just make sure that you make sure your plants are labelled, but if you're going round, just, you know, if you see a label on the floor, don't just leave it and think I'll pick it up next time, because they end up all over the place. You might really, really methodically put them next to the relevant plant in the spring when you're planting out and be really proud of yourself, but you'll be amazed how far they can travel. So yeah, you'll be looking everywhere for those in spring. So always have a little pocket handy and put them in, but then don't put your thing in the wash and forget about them, otherwise you get seeds everywhere and dissolved labels and things. But yeah, they cost money, and a lot of the time they are made out of plastic, so it's really, really important that we reuse them. But that wasn't the thing that I banged on about. That shouldn't be there. What we did last year with our bean poles, we'd invested in quite a lot of, I think these are 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot poles, and I think from the allotment shop they were about 40p each, which we thought was good. And also we thought, great, we'll look after them, they'll last a good few years. Then what we did was we left them in the ground with the beans drying on them, which I'm always saying, let the beans dry off on the plant as long as you can. And they were still there. I can't remember when we took them down. It might have even been the beginning of this year, but they were in for most of the winter, if not all of it. And what that's meant is by the end of this season, a lot of these, they've just had it. I mean, a lot were older canes anyway, but I mean, look, please, they seem like one of the things that are indestructible, but if you leave your canes out, just be really careful. Even if we put ours in the top shed, so that when we put them in, so they're indoors, but a lot of people don't have that. And so I've seen quite a few people, a really handy thing to do is to just put a bit of drain pipe, a length of drain pipe hung by a wire on the side of your shed or wherever, and you can just pack it full of canes, and that means it's covered. But I've also seen a lot of people, and we've done it in the past as well, who will just, I know these are only little, but for an example, they'll pop them in, say, a water butt or a bin or a large bucket or some sort, and just leave them outdoors like that. Well, that means that they are going to be exposed to all the elements, just like we did last year, and before you know it, it's not going to do it now. Better if that had gone a bit easier, but yeah, they're just going to crumble. So you can cut them down and use them for smaller things. Always be careful with the sharp ends, but to be honest, I think it's a really good time now before the cold weather comes in to get these sorted. Ones we are going to keep for next year I'll put on one side, and the ones that have just had it, they'll probably go on the fire. You see me beyond the wind chimes there. This is something I've been avoiding for too long now, and it's basically I keep saying I'm going to clear the poly, but obviously there are still tomatoes to be got. A lot of them are still green. I've been waiting for them to ripen. They're not going to ripen now, Jane. Look at the weather. So well, Rocky's making himself comfortable in the just in the dead plants. I'm going to collect the what's left of the tomatoes, and then I know I can pull everything up, clear it out and get the rest in. Okay, I'm going to have to move that, aren't I? The last little thing is, once you tangle it up, it's a so-and-so to untangle again. So let's just put that, let's just come lower down. I just held it. Let me know what you do with your green tomatoes, because you can see I'll probably fall over again in a minute. I have got a whole pile. This is probably going to be the last tomato harvest this year. So where are we? October the 10th. Let me know what you do with yours. I know there's a recipe out there for tomato, chilli and garlic chutney. Oh, that sounds nice, but yeah, let me know what your recipes are in the comments below. Right, I'm going to carry on with what I was doing before with the snapdragons. You know, I mentioned the peach and yellow ones. Let's get the dead gladioli out of the way. Look at these. Can you see those? I hope you can pick those up on the camera. I mean, they're dead now, but or they're dying, but it's really useful to have the, let me just get a few of these things, to have the flowers on the top, because if you haven't got, and who has, I know some of you will have, nice envelopes ready labelled to put your seeds in, little pots like that, put your seeds in it, but make sure that you put one of the flowers in it as well, so that when you take this home, and later on tonight when it's raining outside and it's dark and you wouldn't want to be up here doing this, you can label it. Okay, you can do that then. So pop that one in there. And yeah, it's just one of those ideas. These are the tagetes. These aren't quite ready, but I'm going to take one anyway. In fact, I'll take two. Sorry, they're not tagetes. They're the giant marigolds. And these have just been such a beautiful splash of colour. Little seeds, flowering, so I know what it is. I mean, if you're really good, you could take a picture of the flower, couldn't you, and upload it and put it on your seed packet. That would be nice, especially if you're doing it as a present for someone. But I'm going to carry on with these now, and yeah, just I hope I've managed to answer a few questions there. If I have, please put a comment down below in the details. Not in the details, you know where to put them. Consider coming along to Instagram, joining the Facebook group. If you want to support the channel with a little bit extra, come along to Patreon, and you'll get a few behind the scenes things. But until now, I think I'm just about going to beat the rain, and I'm going to go home. See you soon.